Okay, I wanted to show you how to make a rig for a tail that looks more like a snake. You know how a cat has that kind of movement on the tail that it's almost like seeing each individual joint on the tail moving by itself. This is going to be a simple start out. I would recommend that you look at the Digital Tutors videos, which are more advanced, but they show a very much nicer setup for the tail controls. But for this short exercise to get you introduced to how the tool works, let's create the tool with the tail with the joints. So just like we did before, a few joints. Right click, and there's our tail, nicely set up on the perspective view. Excuse me. Then the next thing we're going to do is the IK spline handle tool, and we're going to open the option box. Okay. What I want you to check is that you have the auto create curve, and what's going to happen is when we apply the IK tool, what it's going to be is the mover will be handled. That's what the word, the handle comes from. By a curve that's going to be drawn all the way through to the spline, and then we're going to be able to manipulate every vertex from that. So select auto create curve, auto parent curve, and root and curve. Okay, those three options only. Click on the X over here to close that box, and click on the root, on the first one you created, and on the last one. When you do that, nothing else happens. You have the handle, and you have that little white mark here telling that's the curve. If we click on it, every time we try to click on it, it will probably get the bones on the way. So here's what I will do. Select the joint so that we can manipulate the curve by itself to set the keys without any disturbance from the joints. We're going to set the joints to be a template or referenced on the layer. Okay, so right here on the channel box and layer editor at the bottom is the layer editor. Click on the last icon there. It says create new layer and assign selected objects. So make sure that you have your first joint there selected, and click on it. Okay, when you do that, you get the layer 1 that is pretty much the layer with just the bones. And if you turn that V on and off, you're going to see that you can hide or show that object very quickly. Okay, you can rename it here, by double click and say I don't know, joint layers, and save, and now it's renamed. The beauty of this is that we can now put that into template mode. So you see that T over there, how this changed to pink. And now what we can do, I'm going to maximize the perspective view. Now comes a beautiful part of this. When we click on this, we don't get those joints in the middle, okay, in the way. But what I'm going to do, which is where this exercise will start, right click on top of the curve and go to control vertex. You're going to notice some little pink points. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see it. Those are the vertices or the control points for your joints. So select one and go to the move tool and just pretty much move it. You see? You have control over that joint. So let's test it with an animation, okay? So I'm going to move it all the way here, and I'm going to set the timeline on frame 1. Okay, let's go all the way there. Time 1. Press S for setting the key, and let's let's move this one up. S to set the key. When you I forgot to do this. Oh well, yeah, that's the initial. That will be the initial state. And let's grab. Sorry, should have done that. Let's go back to control vertex. Let's select this one, and like that, and press S. Okay, so we have those 3 vertices there. On frame 35, I'm just going to move those points. Let's say I want this to go all the way back here. Press S. This other point I want it to go down. Press S, and maybe this one here to the side. Press S. So let's see what happens. We see movement there. Okay, and this is where rigging controls come to play, so where you can have a little more complex rig.